Number 1. Around 18 months ago, when my girlfriend and I first got together, we went camping regularly with a couple of friends in a large ancient forest. We would go in, set the tent up in the light, have a barbecue and some beers, then sleep. Well, our friends would. We went several weeks running, same routine, different friends each time, until one night we decided to leave the tent and return later so we can get some more supplies. We returned to the tent at dusk but found a stick figure made from twigs at the entrance of the tent. We smoked a bit, had some booze, and one of our friends who reluctantly joined us on this occasion turned strange. He disappeared into the woods, which we found strange as he was petrified on the way into the woods, and then we could hear nothing but singing for at least an hour. He eventually returned and we continued to party until it started to rain heavily, at which point we decided to call it a night. We woke up in the morning and decided to pack the tent down. It eventually became obvious that the trees surrounding our tent had the same shape as the figure carved into the bark. We pretty much rushed to get out of there and came across a still burning pit of fire surrounded by felled trees. That was the final straw, so we ran the remaining mile back to my car. I have to add that the woods I'm talking about has a history of deaths and suicides, and so had reports of witchcraft too. In fact, the surrounding 20 miles has quite a lot of stuff like that. Number 2. While backpacking the Appalachian Trail in northern Pennsylvania, a friend and I just finished hiking up a very large hill and were ready for lunch. We had planned on eating at a shelter that was another 2 miles down and up another hill. After some discussion, we decided to eat at the shelter as there would be water. Well, as we arrive at the shelter, we come across who we initially think is another hiker, but no, this guy was just carrying an old school backpack and was digging for crumbs out of the bottom of a Fritos bag, so he seemed out of place. We asked if he was backpacking or day hiking. Never making eye contact, he mutters out, backpacking. We then asked if he was section hiking or through hiking, as in doing the entire trail. He looks at us with this weird look and says, I'm just hiking through. After a little bit of talking and avoiding all of our questions, he just quickly said, I gotta go. As he packed his bag, we asked what his trail name was so we could look out for him on the logbooks. He clearly had no idea what we were talking about, and this struck us odd as anyone who hikes the Appalachian Trail knows what a trail name is, and usually has one they go by. After sort of explaining what he meant, he said, oh, right, it's Hatchet, which was obviously a load of crap because this guy was holding an axe in his hand when he said this. Well, we continued hiking and we reached our camping spot. We got settled for the night when I'm awoken by Hatchet rustling through my backpack. Now, my friend and I both use hammocks, and I had my backpack wrapped around the tree. My hammock was hanging on, so he ended up shaking my entire hammock. I screamed, hey! And he looked in my hammock, stared right at me for a good second, then bolted. By the time I got out of my hammock, he was nowhere to be seen. Turned out he had stolen a pack of tuna from my bag and a couple of granola bars from my buddies. Never saw him again. The weird part was we got back into town and ate lunch at a diner. Turns out old Hatchet was on the run. There was a wanted poster hanging on the door. Turns out 2 weeks prior he had mugged a couple people, leaving one guy pretty bloody. The whole thing was pretty freaky. We gave our statement to the police, but never heard if they caught him or not. Number 3. I actually read this story on Reddit a couple of years ago. It was a woman relating a story about the last time she ever went camping. It went something like this. She was a very accomplished camper and survival enthusiast. She enjoyed going on solo trips for 2 weeks or so, completely on her own. She explained that she would stop and hit a store a couple hours before her destination to get some supplies, and that would be it. During her last trip alone, she saw one guy by the store in a truck parked along the fishing road. She never saw another person after that. She would see bears, moose, wildlife, but that's it. She spent her time reading and just traveling around. During each trip, she would take 10 to 4 disposable cameras with her. A couple days after one of her trips, she took the cameras in to be developed. When she got them back, she was sitting at home looking through the pictures. Once she got to the 5th or 6th roll, she almost had a heart attack. Every 3rd or 4th picture was a picture of her sleeping on a different night. She swore she didn't see another person anywhere. She explained that she has never gone solo or camping, for that matter, since. Her husband could not get her to go anywhere near the woods after that incident.